What up, sports fans? Waxon Wednesday, Jake Waxman, top level let two guys talk sports. Let's go. All right. So I'm going to start off by saying this. Congrats to Alex Palou on his third Indycar title and his second in a row. Back-to-back Indycar titles for Alex Palou. Well deserved. Because most consistent driver all season long. And did it with 2 wins, which is just as impressive. Will Power gave it everything he had and gave Alex Palou a championship battle, but bad luck in the final race at Nashville. Ended up taking him out of the title. So really good chance. So another season of IndyCar in the books. I want to start with that, and I'll now. That's not gonna. Now, granted, okay, we know that the focus is on Alex Palou, but my thoughts are with Alexander Rossi. Okay, so now that the IndyCar season is over, we're all starting to wonder how the free agent pieces are going to fall into place and where they're going to fall into place. The one I'm following is Alexander Rossi. We know he's not going to be back in the number 7 for Arrow McLaren next year. So a lot of people have said Prima seems to be the favorite to land Alexander Rossi, but Rossi himself has said that they have not talked with him about a contract. So I wonder if it could be he's trying to dodge some questions and that stuff, but for right now it doesn't look like Prima's looking at Rossi, but we could be wrong. Also, there's Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing and also AJ Foyt Racing. It would not surprise me if he would. It would not surprise me to see him go back to a Honda team. Huh? So it would not surprise me like Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. That seems like another team that seems to be a prime favorite for him because he drove for Honda at first, and I think he would love to get back to driving Hondas since they gave him a lot of money in his pocket, it seemed like. So, but also we got to consider the strong possibility that he could be out of IndyCar next season. That he might not race full time in IndyCar. We could see him back at Indy next season, but there is a possibility that he may not do a full time season next year, and maybe looking at racing a different series, like IMSA, or maybe even like 24 Hours Daytona, Le Mans, other series. Other sports car series, Rossi has raced outside of IndyCar before, in a lot of different series. So it would also not surprise me to see him focus elsewhere instead of IndyCar in 2025. So we'll see. It's a great mystery at this point, I doubt that Rossi's going to go. I doubt Rossi's going to. Okay. I doubt that Alexander Rossi is not going to have a full-time IndyCar ride in 2025, but I could be wrong. We just don't know where he's going at this point. It's a great mystery. I think he's got something lined up, but we just don't know for sure. So these are all just some of my thoughts on where he's going to go in 2025. It's either A, he's going to end up at a team like Rahal or AJ Foyt. He could also end up at some other. He could still end up at Prima. We'll see. Or he could be out of the sport entirely in 2025 and only to race at the Indianapolis 500 in a part-time role. Who knows? It's one of life's mysteries. Alexander Rossi, the biggest free agency question, and then where he's going to be in 2025, one of life's mysteries right now. All right, so the Chicago Bears, they fell short against the Houston Texans on Sunday Night Football. Fought hard to the end. Made it a close game. The game was interesting to watch, all right? The Bears, they did not give up. That defense fought hard all game long. They gave the Bears a chance to win this game, steal a win at Houston. But offense just couldn't get it done. So I'll tell you a little bit of what I saw. So in terms of, we know that defense is underrated. That Bears defense is underrated. And I think they're going to keep the Bears in a lot of games this year. I don't think the Bears are going to get blown out a lot of times this year. I still don't think the Bears are going to make the playoffs, but they're going to make things interesting, and a lot of that due to their defense. Guys like Montez Sweat leading the charge. On offense, it's just a matter of can things get clicking on the offensive line, wide receivers, running game, and even at the quarterback position. Now, I will say this. All right, not a good game for Williams, to be honest. He did have 2 turnovers, 2 costly turnovers, 2 rookie mistakes, you could say. And still, there were moments where he was holding on to the ball too long and trying to scramble when he should have tried to get rid of the ball. But with that being said, compared to the Titans game, he made progress in a lot of areas of his game and making that jump from college football to the NFL. In a lot of ways, I thought he looked better against the Texans than he did against the Titans. He actually completed a lot more passes. Hey, got over 100 yards. That's good. So, steps forward, you could say. There's still plenty for Caleb Williams to learn, but he's learning. And it's only the second game, and he actually took plenty of strides forward compared to his first game. Maybe not in taking care of the ball, but in other areas he took steps forward, and that is important. As long as the quarterback continues to progress, that's what's going to be key, especially for the Bears. So, now, Williams wasn't perfect in this game. He could have been a lot better, but also, much like the first game, the offense as a whole just struggled. Once again, continues to struggle. The running game, the Bears so far do not have a running game. But also, the big problem with the offense right now, not just with Shane Waldron's play calling, which needs to improve, but the offense has just really yet to get in sync. And also, a lot of that is, of course, it's the offensive line. They cannot pick up simple blocks. Cannot pick up edge rushers coming off the edge and coming towards the quarterback on his blind side. And just in less than 2 seconds. So, sure, Williams has had moments where he's held on to the ball too long. But the offensive line, they need to build some rhythm. All right, they need to get into a rhythm. Of course, the priority in next year's draft is going to be the offensive line. There's no question about that for Ryan Poles. Bears have plenty of playmakers, but it's not going to matter how many playmakers they got on the running game and the wide receiver if they cannot protect the quarterback. And once again, that continues to be a problem in the game against Houston. Will Anderson Jr. was getting free all game long and getting to Caleb Williams as much as he desired, pretty much. Because the offensive line just... And there was one moment where Darnell Wright just got outmaneuvered in an embarrassing fashion. So, right now... I'm concerned about the offense this season, and a lot of that because the offensive line so far is just not in sync. They're just not in tune, and the penalties are killer as well. So, if Williams is going to progress and show more of what he's capable of in his rookie season, if we're going to continue to throw him to the wolves, the offensive line has got to be better. All right, they got to settle in and get in a rhythm. Talk to each other, mesh together, chemistry, offensive line chemistry. That's going to be key. The Bears need that. And they're going to need that sooner than you think. Hopefully, and at Indy, or I can't remember if the Bears are at home or away on Indy, but against Indy, hopefully this will be the start where the offensive line starts meshing together. Because the Bears have faced some great defensive players on both the Titans and the Texans. The Texans have a solid defense. There's no question about that. But if this Bears team wants to contend for a playoff spot, and it needs more than a great defense. We need the offense. And if the offensive line can get things going, then the rest of the offense will improve as well. And so too will Caleb Williams. That's just my thoughts there. So far, plenty to work on for the Bears, and there's some things to like, but if the Bears really want to go as far as they want this season, got to get that offensive line going. So that's just my thoughts on the Bears 2 games into the NFL season. Okay, I just want to start this final subject by saying this, okay? Yes, I did go to the Purdue Notre Dame game with my guys. And when I say my guys, I went with my dad, my uncle TJ, my brother Tyler, my cousin Christian, and my brother-in-law Jackson. We had a great time, all right? I had a great time with the guys. It was fun to be with them, and it was great to take them to see 2 football teams that all of us love so much. Some of us love Purdue, some of us love Notre Dame, others we're neutral about it, but we like watching football. It was fun. That was the best part of my trip to Purdue, was spending time with the guys, and we got to do a few cool things, like we got to go to the Triple X, get some of their delicious root beer, and I got a Picture with my dad right next to the Boilermaker Special, which is the official mascot of Purdue University. Almost got one with Purdue Pete, but came up short. I thank God I was with my guys because, oh man, the game is putrid. If you're a Purdue fan, it was a putrid game. First of all, I'm going to start by saying this. Yes, I predicted 21-20, Purdue upsetting Notre Dame. That's kind of more of a hopeful prediction. I kind of thought it'd be a closer game due to the defenses. And you know what? Crap, I was wrong. Ugh. It was hard to watch. It's a good thing I was with my guys because that game was hard to watch. That stunk. And this is me being nice. It was freaking terrible. How about this? Final score of the game was 66-7 in favor of Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they not only beat Purdue at Ross-Ade Stadium, they embarrassed Purdue on national television. They embarrassed them right in front of their fans. They humiliated us. And you know what? That's Purdue football's fault as a whole. I mean, the game started out okay, you know? It started out okay. Purdue had only given up, I think, 14 points in the first quarter, and we're thinking, okay, it's still somewhat of a game after one quarter. Just need to get the offense going. Defense is hanging in there, but the offense needs to get going. Second quarter, that's where all hell broke loose. And about halftime, 42-0 at the half. God damn it. Missed tackle after missed tackle. Offensive line not picking up any blocks. Quarterback throwing an awful interception that led to a pick six to end the half. It was a really bad pick six, too. We were all just like, who the hell is he throwing to? What is he doing? Just too many. It was pretty much an avalanche of errors, or a comedy of errors, if you want to call it that. And then even the second half, despite we did have one scoring drive, and that's about it. And Notre Dame had their backups in the fourth quarter, and we still couldn't get things going on offense nor on defense. Just neither defense, whether it was defense or offense, Purdue just looked embarrassing. And Purdue football pissed down their leg in that game. Yeah, and it's okay. Let me just say this. Okay, it's gonna happen. You're gonna lose some games. Sometimes you're gonna get blown out. You know, it's gonna happen. But in this game, the thing that made me that really embarrassed me the most was not the fact that Notre Dame won the game. Okay, and being wrong about that prediction. And okay, admittedly, I talked too much about being excited for the game, so maybe I jinxed my Boilermakers. But the thing that embarrassed me the most was the effort by Purdue football. The effort, no such thing. And I usually try not to call out college kids for not doing their best, but the whole team just looked lost in that game. And the effort, if there was such an effort, it was disgusting. Just atrocious. Hard to watch. The Boilermakers pissed down their leg in that game. Like, they played scared. And the coaches coached scared. And then it was hard to watch. And you know what? The fault of this game is not. I know I've dogged on the players for this, but it's not their fault. Okay? Some of them were doing the best they can. Nobody looked good, of course. But you know what? It's the job of the coaching staff to get this football team ready for a game like this. And by the way, Purdue had a bye week in the middle between their game against Indiana State and their game against Notre Dame, both at home. Between those two games, Purdue had 2 weeks. 2 freaking weeks to prepare for Notre Dame. And at the start, and then from all the way to the finish, you could see it. In the body language of the players and the coaches, this team was 100% unprepared to play in this rivalry game. A big rivalry game. Purdue, Notre Dame, it's a rivalry. Whether you guys agree or not. This is a rivalry game. You got to come out with energy. You got to be pumped up to play. Purdue did not look excited to play at all. In fact, they were just massive, 100% unprepared to play, and the motivation was just not there. Just no fire, no energy, just dead silence. I'm sure those guys are angry, and you know what? I get it, and I will say on a side note, early bye weeks in college football are bad for college football teams, all right? I do not like early byes. But I'm not making excuses here. Despite having an early bye, this Purdue team should have been way more prepared to play than they actually were. And you know what? The fault of that falls on the coaching staff. Ryan Walters and his coaching staff. This team was ill-prepared to play, and they looked embarrassingly and shockingly bad because the coaching staff did not have any of those players prepared at all. They did not. They had 2 weeks for this, and okay, I guess I've said what. Yep, I said it. You know, okay, I know I don't mean to dog on the players. I know they're giving it all they had, and you know what? It's not their fault. The coaching it's the coaching staff's job. It's Ryan Walters' job to get this team as ready as possible to play such a huge game against an opponent like Notre Dame. And you know what? Ryan Walters and his coaching staff failed to do that. And it shows in the score of the game and the embarrassment. And Ryan Walters knows it's his fault. He admitted it. And I just gotta say this. After seeing that embarrassment, you know, I've seen lopsided scores for Purdue football like that before, but that was in bowl games where they were heavily outmatched. And of course, this was a regular season game, an early season game, and they were outmatched. But they had time to prepare and didn't. Whereas the bowl games, they might have been missing a player or two. No, Purdue was healthy in this game. Coaching staff has no excuse for this. And you know what? It pains me to say this. I like Ryan Walters a lot. I want him to succeed. I want him to build a great football team here at Purdue. But after that game, after having a seat at that embarrassment of a game, being present at that game at Ross Stadium, and it was hot that day, scorching hot, 89 degrees. After watching that, I've got questions about whether or not Ryan Walters can build a good football team. I hope he proves me wrong, but I've got questions about Ryan Walters. Now, and I will close it by saying, and I will also say this: Graham Harrell, get him out of there. I'm done with him. I'm sorry, but he is a horrible offensive coordinator. Is it any wonder why he's been hopping from place to place? Because he cannot build a consistent offensive system, no matter how much talent he has. Get him out of there. You know what? Fire him immediately. Get somebody else. They could do better than Graham Harrell. He coached scared. Like, his play calling was scared and timid. Like, we needed to be throwing the football with how many scores we were down by. And guess what? They kept running the football, which, that didn't work either. Just to sum it up, the only thing right now, okay, now I'm going to try and end this on a positive note. That was probably the most embarrassing game I've ever seen at Purdue University. That was the most embarrassing football game I've ever seen. Probably the most embarrassing football game in the history of Purdue football. It was that bad. Losing 66-7. I think that's the worst loss in Purdue football history, and that falls on Ryan Walters. And like I said, it was a good thing I was having a good time spending time with the guys, because otherwise, I wouldn't have wanted to talk about this. And sports fans, I do apologize for not posting any live content. This game just me and my guys were late to the stadium, and by the time I was thinking about it, things just got so bad out of hands, and I was just emotionally compromised. Still had a great time with the guys, still had fun with them, just the football game part of the trip was anything but fun. Now, it was very fun if you were a Notre Dame fan, not if you're a Purdue fan. So, to conclude this, and sorry I took so long with this, in conclusion, I hope this football team can turn around. Hopefully they don't get blown out like this again the rest of the season or beyond. But now it's up to them. The only thing this football team can do is take the lessons learned from the Notre Dame game, get as prepared as possible to play Oregon State at Oregon State. Focus, practice hard, and more importantly, bounce back, okay? Even if you don't win this game, at least try to look better than you did against Notre Dame. Make it much closer. Have some more fight in this game, even if the outcome is not what we hope. I hope they bounce back and they win this next game, and I'm hoping they show that this game against Notre Dame was a fluke. And that this isn't how the rest of the season is going to go. But football 2024, Purdue football 2024. I got a bad feeling about it. But I hope they prove me wrong. And I hope Ryan Walters proves me wrong. I want that to happen, okay? But right now, I got a bad feeling about this. I got a bad feeling about this season. And to be honest, I'm not expecting like Purdue to make a bowl game this year. The schedule is very difficult. But efforts like that, 66-7 against even a very good Notre Dame team, unacceptable. We could do, Purdue football needs to and can do so much better than that. And if it had been like 14-0, I would actually feel better about that. Even if we don't score a point, I could say, all right, at least the defense did the best it could and showed up to try and give Purdue a chance to win. But nope, it was 66-7. Embarrassing loss, and I had the displeasure of being at that game. Feels so bad for my dad and all of Boilermaker Nation, because Boilermaker Nation, including my dad, we deserve to watch better football than what we saw against Notre Dame. So, and on a positive note, hopefully this team takes the lessons that it learns, applies them, comes out angry against Oregon State, wins the game, and bounces back and wins the game. That is what I am hoping for. We shall see what happens with this Purdue football team the rest of the season. All right. On to this day in sports history. On this day, the 17th of September, 1938. How about this? The Chicago Bears defeat the Green Bay Packers by a unique score of 2-0. So, in summary, one safety in the game, and that was the only score. Crazy stuff. But I guess that's how football went a lot in those days, those scoring. All right, sports fans, before I conclude, I just want to apologize for not being consistent with my Waxon Wednesdays in August. I've been on a lot of trips, but I need to do better. So don't be afraid to hold me accountable in the comments, because I know I need to do better. And I'm going to try and do better going forward. So, again, my apologies, sports fans, and I'm looking forward to getting back to doing Waxon Wednesday regularly now. All right, sports fans, that's all. That's it for this week's Waxon Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. Jake Waxman from Two Guys Talk Sports, wishing you all a good night.